Hi, this is Jill Simonello, the managing editor with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. And while you were sleeping last night, Jeep did a thing. They revealed and lifted the embargo of the Wagoneer lineup. And so while you were sleeping, I was not. Which is why you get this lovely updo and coffee this morning on this video. But I just wanted to go over a couple of things. By now you're probably completely inundated with information about the Grand Wagoneer and its less expensive brother, the Wagoneer. But I, in my article on the website, pulled out just some of the most important things that you need to know. And so the first thing you need to know is this is not the Grand Cherokee L. So last month we saw Jeep launch the Grand Cherokee L, which is also a 3-row SUV. And this is actually a lot more expensive, like $30,000 more expensive. So not the same. Though they both have 3 rows, the Grand Wagoneer is body on frame, whereas the Grand Cherokee L is going to be unibody construction. So the Wagoneer family is going to be bigger, stronger, faster, tow more, and there's definitely going to be a lot more third row leg room in this vehicle. So speaking of the third row, the other thing that you should know is this will seat 8. And it has available captain's chairs. So the seating configuration is going to be 7 or 8, depending on what your configuration desires are going to be. We did have the opportunity to check out the concept vehicle last fall when it was in Chicago, and I'm gonna say if the proportions are even remotely similar, one of my colleagues who is 6'7" was able to sit in that back seat comfortably. So I'm going to consider that a usable, actually usable third row. Again, assuming the proportions are the same, but they pretty much look the same. So Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer are 2 different vehicles. That's the other thing that you need to know here. The Wagoneer is going to be the less expensive version. It's going to start at around $60,000, and it will have like less luxurious touches. It's also going to have the less powerful engine. So it's going to have a 5.7 liter V8. It'll deliver 392 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. Now, the Grand Wagoneer is going to be the Mac Daddy luxurious vehicle, kind of like the Cadillac Escalade version of the GM trio of large SUVs. And it will have more powerful engine, so it's going to get a 6.4 liter V8 engine. And it's just going to get a lot more luxurious touches. It's going to be a little bit more chromy. It's going to look nicer. The interior leather surfaces are going to be more up level. And that vehicle is going to start about $30,000 more than the Grand Wagoneer. And get this, it will top out at more than $100,000. I believe they said one of the range topping vehicles will be $111,000. So not a cheap vehicle. And I find all of this really interesting because Jeep has had a very hard time keeping a third row SUV in its lineup. I think the last one it had was the Jeep Commander back in 2010. So now they have 3. So this is going to be really interesting. But from the photos, I think this looks really good. And again, if it's anything like the concept vehicle, which it kind of looks like it is, other than the Detroit roof map on the window, this is going to be a really nice vehicle, and I can't wait to get behind the wheel. Now, one of the things that we oohed and out over at the viewing of the concept vehicle was the passenger screen. And everybody was like, that's never going to make it into production. But it did. So there's going to be a passenger screen that will be on the dash in front of, well, the passenger. But you can do navigation features, so you can set a destination, send it over the driver, they can accept it. But you can also do entertainment. And so I thought that was really interesting. We asked about it during the Q&A session of the Jeep briefing, and they said that it is not designed at all to distract the driver, because obviously that's a concern. And they said it's going to be tilted towards the passenger, and there's going to be a film over it so the driver can't actually see it. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. It'll be 10.25 inches. And here's another really interesting thing about the entertainment on the Wagoneer family. It is connected to Fire TV. So you can start watching something in your house, and kids don't want to be disrupted. They are watching whatever they're watching. Well, they don't have to be disrupted. If you need to get into the car, you can just transfer what they were watching on their TV, on the Fire TV, and transfer it to the car. So that is probably going to be really helpful for some parents out there. There's going to be a lot of technology, obviously, on this. So 120 standard safety features. But the one thing I want to point out here is this is going to get self-driving technology. So this is not hands-free, self-driving, I can fall asleep at the wheel kind of technology. This is the technology that allows you to drive on a highway in certain conditions with your hands off the wheel and your eyes on the road. So think Supercruise from General Motors. So this is getting that. It's not going to be available at launch. It will be available as the vehicle comes out. So, the other big thing here that you should know is that the Wagoneer family is not trail rated. It's going to be very capable, but is not trail rated. And I don't know if that's a Jeep first, but it's probably not a Jeep first. I seem to recall they had some very small SUVs back in the early 2000s that were not trail rated. But this is going to be capable. It's just not going to be trail rated. And it's not because of ground clearances or anything like that. It actually, with the air suspension, will have 10 inches of ground clearance. The problem is it's too big. So if you look, we also on the website have a spec-by-spec comparison of the Grand Cherokee L and the Wagoneer family, and it's 10 inches longer and 10 inches wider than the Grand Cherokee L. So it's a big vehicle. So that's why it's not trail rated. You can order one now. You won't get it until later this year if you order it. In terms of pricing, we got that on the website. Like I said, base price is going to be $57,995. That's without the $2,000 destination fee. So you're looking at $60,000. And it will, so that's for the Wagoneer Series 1. And then the Grand Wagoneer Series 1 is going to start at $86,995. Again, without the $2,000 destination fee. So you're looking at about $89,000 for the base of the Grand Wagoneer. So lots of cool stuff here. I'm going to be very curious to see this in real life, and we've got the photo galleries on here, the spec-by-spec comparison, so be sure to go to the web and check it out, but would love to know what you think. Is Jeep going to be able to succeed with this 3-row SUV in its lineup? And will people pay more than $100,000 for a Jeep?